A violent week in Baltimore saw 11 people shot in a single day, pressing city leaders on if violence prevention plans are really working. One of those victims, a beloved boxer caught in the crossfire, talking with his loved ones about the impact the violent crime is having on our community. And a tanker crashes and bursts into flames. What we know about the moments before the explosion and the condition of the truck's driver tonight.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maxine Stryker. The Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock starts right now with the exclusive Fox Track, Your Baltimore Minute.
Thursday, gunfire striking the north, south, west, and central districts. In total, 11 people shot, one of them killed on one of Baltimore's most violent days to date. But according to city leaders, the bloodshed is slowing. Mayor Brandon Scott taking to Twitter last week, boasting his comprehensive approach to public safety is bringing down homicides this year.
Don't get me wrong, we do need to highlight the progress that we're making, but you can't pretend that people aren't dying every day.
Take a look at this video capturing the moment that tanker truck went up in flames. It sent the driver to shock trauma in serious condition. But initially, when crews arrived here, they found that driver on the side of the road. Plumes of smoke could be seen as far away as Baltimore. A BWI's foam unit, typically used should there be a plane crash, was brought in to get the fire under control. It was put out several hours later.
Hopefully the driver will survive, and no other person got injured and or killed, thankfully.
Now, a Fox 45 News alert in 3, 2, 1.
Breaking tonight, wastewater from that toxic Ohio train derailment will be treated by a local contractor and eventually released into our waters. Fox 45's Keith Daniels joins us live right now with the latest on this plan. Keith?
Well, Kai, Baltimore City Mayor and Brandon Scott and County Executive Johnny Olszewski say they just learned about this plan this afternoon. They got a letter from the contractor who's proposing to process this water. Now, the contractor's name, Clean Harbors Environmental and Industrial Services, was selected to treat and discharge the wastewater at the city-run back River Wastewater Treatment Plant in Dundalk. Now, the city and county share that wastewater system. This comes a month after a fiery train derailment on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border. The contaminated wastewater from that derailment to be treated now here in the Baltimore area. Now, the Baltimore County Executive says he and the mayor have questions and concerns, including how the wastewater will get to Maryland and for the overall operation.
We want to make sure, really, this is about what's going into the system. There's a chance to make sure that before we introduce any of this water into our system, that we are clear about what is happening, having questions answered, ensuring appropriate testing is in place.
Well, there's no word on when that wastewater could arrive. Meanwhile, according to a joint statement from the county executive and the mayor's office, they are seeking a legal opinion from the attorney general's office regarding the city's requirement to accept this plan. We're live tonight. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Keith, thank you. Well, a spike in violence this week continued overnight with a deadly double shooting just after midnight. A 25-year-old woman and 26-year-old man admitted themselves to a city hospital. Both have been shot multiple times. Police say the two were shot on York Road near Woodburn Avenue. It's in North Baltimore. The 26-year-old man died from those injuries. That shooting comes after Baltimore saw a disturbing surge in violent crime yesterday. 11 people were shot across the city, and much of that violence took place in West Baltimore, where 5 victims were injured and a 6th was killed in a mass shooting. Tonight, we're putting a face to the crime crisis. The man who died in that mass shooting was a boxer who appears to have been caught in the crossfire. Fox 45's Vincent Hill has the details.
Yeah, standing outside the boxing gym that was owned by 33-year-old Ernest Hall. He was known in the boxing world as Lightning Bug Ernie, but a fellow boxer called him a friend and a gem to the community.
First and foremost, Ernie was my friend.
A friendship grown out of a mutual love for the sport of boxing.
I love boxing. I was looking for a new gym when I moved to Baltimore City, and I found Ernie.
Rudy Duke-Majan describes his longtime friend and Olympic boxer, Ernest Hall, as a beacon.
He'll light up a room, wouldn't say a bad word about anyone.
Hall not only taught boxing, but he was still active in the sport.
Ernie had a fight lined up next weekend.
Wednesday, he called his friend, sparring partner, and lawyer, Rudy, for advice.
I spoke to him at 10 p.m. on the night of his death. He was telling me about his contract. He was telling me about the amount. He was looking for sparring.
That would be the last time the two would ever talk.
A few hours later, the inevitable happened.
Just after midnight on Thursday morning.
Wrong place, the wrong time. Ernie doesn't get involved in anything like that.
During a random trip to the store, Ernest was fatally shot in a mass shooting in West Baltimore, leaving a family behind to pick up the pieces.
He's got a 15, 16-year-old. He has a new baby boy born probably in, I think, January. He's got a very, very young daughter.
A father and a fighter who lost the fight to Baltimore's gun violence. Rudy says Ernest was a treasure, taken away too soon.
It's a cliche. When people pass away, everyone says, all the good things. He was this, he was that. But Ernie was he was a gem for the city of Baltimore.
Right now, Baltimore police say they still have no suspects or motives in the shooting that killed Hall and injured 5 others. Hall's funeral is scheduled for April the 7th. In Baltimore, Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
As of this morning, Baltimore police report 58 homicides in the city and 120 non-fatal shootings. Last year at this time, 76 people had been killed and 155 had survived being shot. And some city leaders have pointed to those crime stats as proof that violence prevention programs are working. But others say the violence we've seen this week is a sign not enough progress is being made in protecting Baltimore residents. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor explains.
Yeah, overall this year, shootings and homicides have both dropped compared to last year, but some experts argue that a closer look at those numbers show it's still too soon to celebrate.
For Baltimore police, it was another day of chasing down bullets, sprayed all across the city.
I have 2 more number 1 males that have been shot.
Thursday, gunfire striking the north, south, west, and central districts. In total, 11 people shot, 1 of them killed on one of Baltimore's most violent days to date. But according to city leaders, the bloodshed is slowing. Mayor Brandon Scott taking to Twitter last week, boasting his comprehensive approach to public safety is bringing down homicides this year. A sentiment echoed by Governor Wes Moore during a recent CNN interview.
When I think about the state of Maryland, we know that our impact and the work that we're doing right now, both with the federal government and the local government, to reduce violence in the state of Maryland, that it is working, and we plan on continuing to double down on that investment.
But a deeper dive into the data paints a different picture. While homicides are down overall compared to this time last year, last January, 36 people were killed, the deadliest January on record, potentially skewing the numbers. The year prior, 27 people were killed, and the year before that, 26, on par with what we're seeing again this year. And moving on to February, 17 people were killed this year, 1 more than February of last year.
Don't get me wrong, we do need to highlight the progress that we're making, but you can't pretend that people aren't dying every day.
Former federal and state prosecutor Dhruv Ignaraja says based on the numbers he's seeing, it's still too soon to tout success.
I think what's frustrating to people of Baltimore is when our city leadership pretends that there isn't a catastrophic problem.
In Annapolis, he's hoping the comments from city leaders doesn't cause crime-fighting legislation to go overlooked. With just over 2 weeks left in the legislative session, the fate of several major crime-fighting bills still stuck in committee. Attempts to make stealing a handgun a felony, increase penalties for repeat violent offenders, and lengthen jail time for illegal gun possession, all hanging in the balance, even with Democratic Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates joining the calls for tougher gun laws.
I've gone to too many funerals. I've gone to and watched too many people and young boys and young men and young kids and young ladies who look like me and you that are dying and losing their life.
Time is now ticking for lawmakers to pass change as lives continue to be lost in Baltimore City.
There's still blood being spilled on the streets, and I would urge them to spend more time in the communities and less time cloistered in City Hall celebrating their modest successes.
Time will also tell if Baltimore City will see more than 300 homicides this year, a grim milestone that has gripped this city for the past 8 straight years. In Baltimore City, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
A fiery explosion this morning on 795 in Owings Mills. Take a look at this video capturing the moment a tanker truck went up in flames. It sent the driver to shock trauma in serious condition. Closures lasted for hours as crews worked to clean up the wreckage of the truck. Plumes of smoke could be seen as far away as Baltimore, and it took special crews meant to respond to plane crashes to get the fire under control.
I'd like to say thank you to our crews, and I'm very thankful. We in the fire department are always thankful that when we have an accident like this, that there's limited injury, and in this case, hopefully the driver will survive, and no other person got injured and or killed, thankfully.
Well, hazmat teams in the Maryland Department of Environment, they worked to contain the leaks, which they said did not impact the environment. 2 Howard County teens arrested for a series of Kia and Hyundai thefts. 19-year-old Xavier Mitchell is charged with stealing 7 cars between last August and October in Columbia, Laurel, and other nearby communities. In a separate case, a 15-year-old boy from Columbia is also charged with stealing a car. The theft's part of a nationwide trend where criminals are targeting Kias and Hyundais due to flaws in their security systems. In order to protect your car, you can contact its manufacturer to get a security software update or by using a steering wheel lock. Locks will be available to Maryland residents who bring their license and registration to the Baltimore Northern or Southern District Station tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. while those supplies last. And let's check in on the forecast now as the weather maker continues to bring rain to our region. You're looking at live conditions from the Fox 45 mobile track. The local radar and conditions in the Baltimore area tonight. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax has the latest on what comes next.
Thanks, Maxine. We are keeping track of those showers currently moving across the state. Most of the rain is light right now, and it will continue over the next several hours. Rain will move over the state overnight and then as we head into the day tomorrow. So if you are heading anywhere, just make sure that you have the rain gear and that you're driving safely on the roads. Even though the rain's on the lighter side, we're still seeing those wet roads outside. Temperatures across the state are mainly in the 40s, and this is a massive cool down compared to the 70s that we had yesterday. The good news is that over the weekend, our temperatures will gradually rise and our rain chances will start to decline. I'll let you know the timing of the rain and how warm it gets coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
Well, make sure you have the free WBFF Weather Authority app to track this weather. Just go to your app store and search for WBFF to get started. Parents on Capitol Hill demanding more oversight in what their children learn in the classroom. The battle over a parental bill of rights. And a mother who lost her son to an overdose doing her part to protect others. The training, she says, is already saving lives. Earlier today, the House passed the Parents' Bill of Rights Act, which would give parents more direct oversight over the books, reading materials, and curriculum in public schools. Today, Bowens from the National Desk has the details on those parents' concerns.
Outraged parents on Capitol Hill Thursday.
It is tragic that they now fear the federal government. We are not domestic terrorists, and we will not be silenced.
The frustration stems back to that 2021 Justice Department memo that directed federal law enforcement to work with local authorities because of a, quote, disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school staff and board members. Parent advocacy groups say parents were pegged as threats after voicing concerns about COVID-19 lockdowns, gender identity policies, and controversial subjects in the curriculum.
What they are doing is teaching through the lens of critical race theory and critical theory in general. And it's demoralizing our children, and it's having an effect that's causing division amongst the children, and we're seeing increases of violence across the country.
Attorney General Merrick Garland released the memo after the National School Boards Association sent a letter to President Biden comparing some conduct at school board meetings to domestic terrorism. The organization has apologized for the letter. They also say they regret sending it in the first place.
This appeared to be a manufactured crisis. It was all put together for politics.
The hearing comes on the heels of a House Judiciary report that found no legitimate basis for the memo. Despite calls to do so, Garland hasn't rescinded the memo.
And it unquestionably chilled parents in exercising their rights.
Democrats pushed back during the hearing, accusing the right of First Amendment violations when it comes to violent threats against school board members and book bans.
Near my district in southeastern PA, school board members received threats of evoking gas chambers and acts of physical violence.
And they invariably focus on books by Black and LGBTQ authors and on the teaching of American history that includes an honest examination of race and bigotry.
The Parents' Bill of Rights Act now goes to the Senate, where it faces an uphill battle against a Democratic majority in opposition.
You're taking a look over the harbor, where we've got cloudy skies and a little bit of rain. Over Towson, also cloudy, and you can see that rain on the HD radar as we deal with a weather maker that's going to impact much of the weekend. So you will want to make sure that you have the umbrellas handy if you have anywhere to go this evening or even tomorrow. The rain is moving across the state, and fortunately, most of the rain is on the lighter side, but towards southern Maryland and in parts of Virginia, we're seeing some of those yellows and oranges indicating some moderate rain. As we head later into the night, there is that chance for areas of heavy rain. Same thing tomorrow, so you want to make sure that you're driving safely if you have to be anywhere. This is all part of a larger system impacting the region. We're keeping watch on this stationary front south of the state. That's going to move to the north as a warm front, leading to warmer temperatures. And then behind that, a cold front will follow as we head into tomorrow. Behind that cold front, the dry air finally returns as we end the weekend. Current temperatures sit at 48, and you can see just how cloudy it is in the background. It's been very gray and gloomy for much of the day. Unfortunately, that continues tomorrow. Temperatures are mainly in the 40s across the state, so this is a big jump from the 70s that we had yesterday. Overnight, we'll slowly drop to the upper 30s and the low 40s. With those clouds, we're not looking at a big cool down, but we are looking at a nice warm up by the afternoon. High temperatures reach 60. We still have the chance for rain, but that's primarily for the first half of the day. We warm up to the upper 60s and even the low 70s in some areas on Sunday. It'll be a nice and dry day. Then on Monday, we're only talking the 50s and possibly a couple of isolated showers. Notice as we head to about 9-10 o'clock, we're still tracking rain across the state and areas of heavy rain at times. Then overnight, expect scattered showers continuing into the morning. You could be waking up to wet roads and a little bit of light rain. Expect this to continue throughout the morning. By the afternoon, the rain starts to push out of the state, moving to the east. The clouds will also begin to clear later in the day. We'll have a chance for a couple of isolated showers late in the night, but after midnight, that clears as the cold front passes, and we're left with nice and dry weather for the end of the weekend. We'll also have warmer temperatures reaching the upper 60s. So again, rain chances will decline on Sunday, then they start to increase for the beginning of next week. Friday is the next chance for rain. Coming up, I'll have a look at temperatures and how high it gets and when to expect cooler numbers coming up in the exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Were you lucky enough to see the Aurora Borealis overnight? The Northern Lights show was visible across much of the northern and even central United States, all because of a huge hole that's in the sun's corona right now that allowed more radiation than usual to reach the Earth's upper atmosphere. Even places in Virginia, North Carolina, and Northern California got a glimpse of the lights, which tend to be more frequent near the equinox anyway because of the Earth's angle toward the sun.
Training with the anti-overdose tool is already saving lives. How one mother who lost her son to opioids is trying to protect others. Across the country, Narcan is a life-saving drug that can reverse the effects of an overdose. As more states make it more widely available, some are trying to make sure members of their community know how to use it. Chester Davis from our sister station in Albany reports that training is already saving lives.
Tabitha Slater's son, Marshall, died 2 years ago from a suicide at the age of 21.
If it wasn't for what happened to my son, I would have never even thought to do something like this.
That something was Narcan training. Narcan is a brand of naloxone which reverses the effects of an opioid overdose.
It doesn't matter who you are. You know, I don't want you to die.
A month after receiving her online Narcan certification, Slater's training was needed after hearing nearby screams in Gansevoort.
Grabbed the Narcan and I just ran. And I got to the person and he was down.
A person around the same age as Slater's late son was suffering from an overdose. She quickly jumped into action and administered Narcan, saving their life.
Even some of the people at the firehouse didn't realize that we can do this. Like, we can get our community trained to help each other. you know, which is so cool, because how many times do you see something and you want to help and you just kind of stand there like, I don't know what to do.
Now, more community members do know what to do. Earlier this month, Slater organized a drive-through Narcan training event at the Gansevoort Fire Department with help from the local Department of Health and Saratoga County Sheriff's Department. 96 Narcan kits were handed out. With more people trained, more children will have a chance to be saved.
Not wanting to see another mother go through what I'm going through and the pain I have to go through every day.
Reporting in Gansevoort, Chet Davis, CBS 6 News.
We've got showers currently moving across the state. Expect these to continue overnight and then through the morning tomorrow. Most of the rain will clear by the afternoon as temperatures reach the 60s. We're talking 67 with mostly sunny skies on Sunday. Then after that, a drop in temperatures, 59 on Monday, staying mostly dry. We've got the next round of showers on Tuesday. Our temperatures will stay in the upper 50s and above average. 58 and sunny on Wednesday. Then on Thursday, 59 and dry. We are looking at the chance for showers once again on the upcoming Friday, 62. After that, our temperatures will gradually fall over the weekend and into the following week. Maxine.
Baltimore's H&S Bakery opening a new restaurant and bakery this morning in Harbor East. Need's Bake Shop and Cafe had its ribbon cutting and began serving customers for the first time. City leaders like Mayor Scott, City State's Attorney Ivan Bates, and former Mayor Jack Young all were there, touring the kitchen and talking with residents. Need's Bake Shop is open Tuesday through Sunday from 7 a.m. through 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Looks great. Well, that's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next. We'll see you again tonight at 10. Have a great night.